Audubon 2456.
State of the Say is back with a post-Memorial Day episode, I guess. We're just going to date ourselves right from the get-go. First of all, right off the top, it is not a Monday recording, it is a Tuesday recording. What does that mean? It means, who knows, this might go up on Thursday. If it does, bear with us. We're trying our best here. But that little bit of business out of the way. Once again, I'm Eric. With me, of course, is Michael. Michael, how you doing, Michael?
Hi, things are good.
Michael, things good in the world of video games. Have you been playing any video games?
I have been playing some video games.
We're going to jump right to that because there's lots to talk about today here with Metal Gear Solid Part 3 of Metal Gear Solid 2. You know, the naming convention fell apart on this one because it's Metal Gear Solid 2, but it's Part 3 of a multiple part series where we played through all the Metal Gear Solids. So I realized that when I was naming the last episode, I was like, boy, does this get convoluted quickly.
Much like Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah, it's fitting.
Yeah, it's very fitting.
It doesn't help the algorithm, but it's fitting for us. In the world of video games, what have you been doing?
I have been playing a lot of the same video game I've been playing for the last 2 sessions. Monster Hunter Rise!
Have you, I believe you were saying you were getting yourself prepared for the inevitable DLC drop.
Yes, the DLC comes out at the end of this month, and I have beat the requirement for the DLC, which is basically not a final boss, like, quote-unquote, but it's a big boss fight that will allow you to... You can't... There's no, like, harder quest levels beyond this. Like, rank 7's, like, the highest you can go in terms of, like, quest difficulty. But now my hunter rank will, like, continue to rise, and I can hunt monsters, and there'll be, like, side missions, not, like, main missions that might be harder from the other main missions and everything. So
have you completed the, like, main path of the game?
Of the multiplayer ones, because that's the ones I needed to do in order to be able to play the Sunbreak expansion once that comes out. I still have I left kind of behind the single player ones, but I'm so, like, leveled up now I can, like, knock those out really easily. Might do that just to see if I can get some pieces I'm missing for a few armor sets, so that way whatever the first few monsters are for the Sunbreak expansion, I can have an armor set and a weapon set ready to go. So now it's just, I met the minimum requirement, now it's just prep time, get ready for whenever those drop.
Is the expansion multiplayer focused, or is it both?
I'm not sure. I purposely haven't been watching a lot. I just know that I watched, like, the tutorial of what they're adding to my specific weapon class to see if I want to change it up some or if I want to keep it. I'm going to keep it because they're adding a counter move to my switch axe, so that's going to be really handy, and I can't wait to see that in action.
How easy is it to change up? Because weapon class seems to be, like, the main driving force in Monster Hunter. Mm-hmm. How easy is it to change that up and try a different weapon? Is there a lot of grinding to get your weapon back up? Or is it...
Monster Hunter is all about grinding. Okay. So what you can do is if you want to try a weapon and you're already really far in the game like I am, what I would do is I would pick a lower ranked monster hunt. Pick really strong armor that I know is resistant to the monster's attacks, and then use a weapon in that tier and try to see how high I can level it up with my current pieces that I have from other monsters, and then play around, do a hunt with that, and then see if it's something I want to pursue. Because you can go to a training area where you can, like, fight and, like, train, spawn a monster in, and, like, see if that's something you want to pursue, but the actual hunts, I believe, are where you will get the most, like, decide, like, yeah, this is my weapon, this is what I want to pursue.
You have to have something that's challenging enough to actually see if the weapon holds up to, you know, the actual, you know, you can't just do, like, a baseline something that's, like, everything will walk on a baseline enemy, but until you get, like, a decent hunt in with it to see, okay, this is actually something viable they use instead of going through like I imagine that those weapons are just not. I wouldn't say not viable, but not fitting to your play style.
Exactly. Like there is like one that I don't see how you can like do training with is something called the hunting horn. The hunting horn is a support weapon that can be used as like a blunt weapon to stun the monster, but you mostly use it to run around and play songs to provide buffs for. You're basically the bard running around playing songs to like get everybody better armor or better regenerating health is one that I appreciate a lot.
It's one of those things that it's made entirely for the support role in a multiplayer setting. I imagine you would never use that in single player. I'm sure somebody has already beaten the game with it because we live in the world. Yeah, we live in the world that even though you wouldn't want to, someone has. But yeah, it's the support class. It's playing Mercy in Overwatch. It's all that stuff. It's entirely built about keeping everybody else up. Other than Monster Hunter, you been playing anything else?
Not really, no. Just more Animal Crossing on a daily basis.
That's just a daily life occurrence, though.
It is now, but one thing I want to touch on. My wife and I have completed the main story of the DLC, and now DJ KK will come occasionally and do a DJ show on the DLC island to where he'll just do remixes of all, like, multiple hundreds of his tracks. We'll just, like, transition into the other, and it'll just be, like, an endless show. All the animals are basically doing a rave. They'll throw their hands up in the air where the fog's coming in when he's transitioning between one song to the other. It's pretty great.
I can't believe I know this. What is the difference between DJ KK and KK Slider?
Well, KK Slider comes to your island. He's the pop star who makes all the music in the Animal Crossing world. He'll come to your island every Saturday and play a show with requests. That's how you unlock like the songs by requesting different songs. And he'll say specifically, "That was far out, man. Here's a boot of the show in your pockets."
Just straight up handing out he's handing out demo disc. What it is, man? Like you want to copy my demo? I got a mixtape here. You want to check out my mixtape?
Except he's the biggest pop star in the world of Animal Crossing, so he's like handing out free CDs for his shows. I'm like,
even the biggest pop star in Animal Crossing still out there having to hustle.
So yeah, he has a side persona where he's DJ KK, where he'll play remixes of his own songs.
I like the fact there's a side persona. Like he's got like split personality. Where it's like, which one am I talking to? Oh, KK's not here no more. It's like me, DJ.
It's like whenever you're interviewing Donald Glover for like a movie interview, and then the minute you bring up Childish Gambino, he'll like switch on the spot and be like, "Yeah, man, my next album's gonna be hot." And then you talk about like Star Wars. They're like, "Yeah, Star Wars is gonna be great."
I appreciate his commitment to character.
You can see, like, it's literally, like, he, like, leans forward. It was pretty great seeing that, like, interview for, like, Lando. It was, like, he's a completely different person.
He's
he keeps kayfabe alive.
You want to talk about kayfabe? We'll talk about kayfabe. That leads into what I've been playing.
Really?
I've been playing. That was a high-quality segue.
In true Say the Same fashion, we can't do a segue without bringing up the fact we're doing a segue.
If we don't tell people it's a segue, how will they know to submit us to the Segway Awards at the end of the year?
Like I get snubbed every year.
Yeah, I know. It's really bullshit.
Tragic.
For a guy who does like 20 segues a show, you'd think I get something. It's probably going to people who don't use the segues as also a talking point. I've been playing WWE 2K22.
Hey, you got that finally.
Yeah, because everybody told me that this was better than 2K20.
Oh, no.
No.
Okay, the way you led up to that had me...
It plays better than 2K20.
Okay.
If you did not know about the drama there, real short, 2K20 was like a train wreck. Go and look at some of those models that were on that game, and boy...
There's a video of Jeff Gerstmann for 4 hours.
Just going through every single model. And they took an entire year off, which is not par for the course, to make this one. The models are better, especially for the bigger a name you are, the better your model looks.
I mean, that's how it always looks. Like,
yeah.
In Gran Turismo, well, look at the Ferrari compared to, like, the 1996 Honda Civic.
Yeah.
The Ferrari's going to be better modeled. You can actually open up and, like... If it has a dashboard cam, Does The Rock have a dashboard cam?
No, The Rock's model is actually okay. I was a little shocked because I played through a bunch of just matches just to see, intros and who got their intro right and this, that, and the other. And it's weird, like, who didn't get the high... Like, you could tell it was a checklist on who got the better model and who got the...
Who's got a belt? Roman Reigns.
Reigns has a... I haven't played a match for Roman Reigns.
Drew McIntyre.
McIntyre does not have a belt. They have the belt because it's always, like, right before the game's release is who they have the belt on. So it's like for the NXT belt, it was like Ciampa had the belt there. The weird thing is also they were letting go of so many people that you can tell that they were just struggling over there at the 2K trying to keep the roster somewhat updated. But there is a lot of people who are no longer with that company, including a lot who are now with AEW.
Oh no!
That are in that game. Buddy Murphy is still in that game. Johnny Gargano is in that game. Like, there's a lot of people who have been let go from that company who is in that game.
Well, this leads to my question about the game. You can just download those wrestlers anyway, right?
Yeah, but I don't like the download. The download characters were not shockingly great to me.
No.
There's people have done work, but they don't look... My big issue... Let's do the positive and negatives real quick. Okay. We're not going to bore people too much with WWE 2K2.
Pros.
The pros is the game plays a lot better. It's a lot more fun to play.
Cool.
I still struggle with this game to be beaten because I like to play the game in a way that... We'll get into this in a second. The game plays a lot better. You can pull off moves without having to go through 14 different setup phases. You can kind of just get people up on their feet and get them on your shoulder to do stuff. Grabbing ladders and stuff like that is better. The game plays a lot better. Models look better. Game looks better. All positives. There's a GM mode that seems kind of fun.
Yes.
I did like the GM mode. I just started fiddling with that. I might stick with that. All that stuff is fun. They do these very well put together. And they did this with 2K20, where they do like a particular story, and they let you play through like a wrestler's career. So 2K20, they did that with the 4 Horsewomen, focused primarily around Becky Lynch.
Naturally,
here, they did it with Rey Mysterio. And there's a lot of very cool interview sections with Rey Mysterio. They cut to scenes throughout his major matches throughout his career. The first one's like Halloween Havoc 1996 WCW against Eddie Guerrero, which is really cool. And the only problem I have with those is instead of just going out there and having a cool match, you have to complete objectives.
I was about to say, is it like you gotta hit the highlights of the match? Like you gotta take this move, you gotta land this move, and you gotta finish with this move.
You have to throw Eddie into the corner and then do a head scissors. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes like checking off stuff in an order, because you can't even just do them throughout the match. You do them in the order that they tell you to. Now, there was some cool moments, like in that particular one, there's a moment in which you do a move and you knock Guerrero over the ropes, and it cuts to live footage. Like, it goes from gameplay footage straight into real footage of the match, and it shows some of the stuff they did on the outside, and then when Guerrero throws Rey Mysterio back into the ring, it cuts back to the game.
That's kind of cool.
It was cool little stuff, and it was very smooth. I give them credit. But the checklist kind of takes away the fun of it. I wish they would just let you kind of play the match. Because also the checklist is all your offense, which if you are familiar with, and some of these matches I'm familiar with because they're very good matches, it's like, well, you're leaving out all the stuff that Eddie Guerrero did, because you're not playing as him.
Yeah.
And if you do, I happen to lose that because I just got bored, to be honest with you, because I was sick and tired of the checklist. And it cuts to like an alternate version where he rips off Rey Mysterio's mask.
Oh no!
That was a career mask match. I want to say I might be a little bit fuzzy on that, but
there's alternate history.
Well, but it's just but it's like a cool little like actual repercussions of what it was. It was cool.
Yeah. There's like the Revenge of the Sith game where you can play the final battle as Anakin
and win. Yeah. But this goes to like my biggest issue. One thing I like in sports games, I like in like NHL, you can play like your career mode, right? And you get traded and you go through all the problems of being in the NHL. I hate when they try to make it a damn major story like an HBO drama. 2K does this. Like if you ever played the 2K basketball games, they want to do this.
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. You go 45 minutes without playing a damn game of basketball. In this, it does it with the My Rise mode, in which you can create your own wrestler, and you too will go through the entire system of WWE, where you probably get cut within the first 6 weeks after moving your family to Florida. But there's no resentment there at all. But this is my biggest gripe with that. It's a mode about having a career as a professional wrestler, but the game does not acknowledge the fact that wrestling is predetermined.
What?
So the game acts like you are not doing something that's predetermined, so it comes across extremely weird. Also, it is jam-packed with sports entertainment WWE-isms.
But at the same time, like, if it was, like, predetermined, would they not just default to the, like, set list stuff? Or would it be like, hey, you have to lose this match, but it has to be, like, a good ranking match?
There's a system in the game already that gives you stars based on the quality of the match.
Okay, so
it's 1 to 5.
That'd be cool if there was a way to be like, hey, you have to lose this match, but you gotta make it a good match.
I would love it if it was a situation where it's like, do a squash match. Beat this guy in under 2 minutes. And get 3 stars. Or do the job. Like, you go out there and you gotta have a good match, but then take the pin. And I know this is stuff that's very specific to me, because I'm someone who enjoys wrestling, but also the art form around wrestling. Like, there's people, and a lot of people, who will sit down and watch a wrestling match and just see what happens. So, I really enjoy the politics and all the stuff that goes around it. So it is frustrating for me. Also, because this is a WWE product, it is full of those sports entertainment stuff. Like, they will not call you a wrestler. You are not a wrestler. You are a superstar. A WWE superstar, trademark. They just, like, everything is WWE, kid-friendly. It's just, as someone who really likes wrestling.
We gotta find Mr. McMahon's egg.
Oh, yeah. I would not doubt. It does appear. I did not go well. I try it every time, and I always cringe so damn hard that I never actually succeed. But, so I do not think I'll even touch this anymore. But, like, it's the same thing as, like, you're at the Performance Center and you're learning from Shawn Michaels, how to not do jobs and how to fake injuries and get paid by Vince McMahon for 4 years. Nice old guy, Shawn Michaels. But it's like, he'll do a training match in the... It's just like... It just feels weird, and that disconnect there bothers me, and it's a personal thing for me. I know it is, but it's one of the weirdest things about these games is that, wrestling is predetermined, so when you do an entire mode about becoming a professional wrestler, the concept that you will never lose doesn't make any sense to me, because it's like, that's not how wrestling works.
You gotta lose good.
You gotta lose well. Sometimes you gotta lose bad. But no, but the gameplay itself is very good.
So I have a couple questions for you to kind of bounce off of. The first one is, so this sounds like from like a wrestling like fan's perspective, that's where the game seems to fall. But as a wrestling video game, that's where it's good.
It's from a wrestling. Let's not use Eric as like the definition of like a WWE fan, because I think also there is a difference.
That's why I said wrestling fan.
Yeah, there is a difference between someone
not
like
a
me,
sports entertainment fan.
Yeah. But like, for me, I am much more interested in playing the story of like a real wrestling journey than a WWE documentary. But from a gameplay point of view of like facing your opponent and doing cool stuff in the ring and trying to beat somebody, it's done well. It's good. There was a significantly smaller roster, maybe because they fired so many people. But also, I think they probably did that to help cut down so they didn't have to... Because in 2K20, there was a shit ton of people. And so, like, you had to kind of cut them a little bit of break on those models because they made, like, 400 of them. Here, you can tell it's a more tighter roster which makes sense to me. There's still some people who are in there that I was like, I don't know why these guys are even like. I like Dominic Dijak. Yeah, but he went by. He's going by T-Bar now in this crappy. But he's on there twice because they've got him. Dominic Davikovic, I think his name is blanking on me. But then they've got him as T-Bar too. So it's like, why is he in here twice? You put two different gimmicks and made it seem like two different people. They did the same thing with
That's what I want, though.
It's weird.
Give me good Becky and evil Becky with just a mustache.
But they've got them listed as two different people completely.
I mean, a football video game would do that. You can play as the Rams, or you can play as the '96 Rams.
No, but it's not like you click his name and then you can pick which gimmick.
Oh, okay,
that makes sense. No, he's labeled two different people and he has different movesets.
It's a clone character. It's a fighting game. Yeah.
They don't have.
Yeah, Mario and Dr. Mario.
They don't have, for most of the characters, like, alternate ring gear or anything.
That's weird.
So you can't, have... I was, in particular, those people who have, very iconic ring gear.
Can I customize, my own personal ring gear?
Your guys, you can, yes. But you have to play that My Rise mode. Do you want to play that My Rise mode?
Okay, my next question is... Can I download a bunch of wrestlers from the internet from different properties, such as Green Arrow and Booster Gold, and put them in my own wrestling league?
Yes.
And play the GM mode and have them have rivalries, recruit no one else from the WWE, and just have AI matches.
With the GM mode, you are bringing from their roster. I don't believe you could do it for the GM mode necessarily. I don't know. I just started fiddling with that, and also I would never do that. And that's not me being that's not me insulting you, but it's not something that to me, for me, I would rather sit there and be like, let's put some belts on people who actually deserve this damn belt.
Yeah, Taskmaster.
Yeah. But we have different...
The 3-time champion.
We have different things that we want. There's weird...
No one could get the belt off Carnage.
Yeah.
That was a problem. I couldn't do it, and I was losing matches to him in the AI mode trying to get the belt off him, and no one could...
No, it's a good game, but it's it also has weird stuff. They have all the pandemic era arenas.
So, with the Thunderdome. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a part of its history now.
But I would rather have, but they don't have a lot of they only have a small selection of classic arenas, where it's I would much rather play a Raw arena from the 90s than the Thunderdome. I never knew I never want to do a random match in the Thunderdome. No one even... When they did the Thunderdome, they didn't want to do the Thunderdome. But yeah, it's fine.
When you told me they had a Thunderdome, I thought of a completely different image at first, and then I saw what it actually was. And
there was weird DLC for 2K20. There was post-apocalyptic version of wrestling and cyberpunk version of wrestling. They actually had one interesting thing, which was they had what was almost all the wrestlers from modern day, but in a very 1980s gimmicky wrestling promotion. Okay. So it was here's Charlotte Flair, but she's Miss America coming out dressed as Uncle Sam. Here's I'm trying to think of somebody.
That's pretty funny.
But it was think lots of Glow for the women and the wrestling promotion Glow, and think a lot of it wouldn't even be Mid-South. I'm getting into wrestling stuff now. Let's go. Move on.
Yeah, you've lost me.
When I'm talking territories, and
it's time to move on.
And Saturday morning wrestling promotions and stuff like that. I also played Sniper Elite 5. It's just another one of those. Boy, those games are all the same.
Yeah, but they're so...
You sneak around, you shoot people in the face.
Sometimes you want to slow motion kill some Nazis.
Oh, it's fine. They're completely fine.
Yeah. The same developers have a game where you can slow motion kill some Nazi zombies.
Yes. There's apparently a nemesis system now where you can invade other people's games and be the enemy sniper.
Oh, okay, that's not what I thought when I thought
No.
system. I was if you kill Hitler, then someone else will be the new Hitler.
No. That would be fine, though. Just keep shooting Hitlers. They pump that DLC out for that game every year, day one. Here's the Kill Hitler DLC. But no, it's you can be the enemy sniper and go hunt down the other player and shoot them. It's fine. It's fine. I'm kind of in a lull right now, waiting for games to come out because there's a bunch of stuff on the horizon.
Everything's delayed,
but we got hopes at the end of the tunnel. We got cool stuff.
There's a not E3 going on like right now.
Yes. Stuff. You want to talk about that real quick?
I have a list of stuff that
we in a grand plan to relaunch the show and big not finale, but big, fireworks and mid-season kickoff kind of cool stuff that we got planned. I'm sure we'll do a rundown of all these press conferences because basically with no E3 this year, everybody's just putting on their own conferences, which is almost like, what's the purpose of an E3?
Gotcha.
But we did get the first one. Star Wars released some of their game stuff. It was Fallen Order's sequel is
Jedi
announced,
Survivor,
which looked very cool trailer. Nothing really story wise or anything.
A lot of there's stuff if you want to scrub through and be like, who's that guy in the back to tank, stuff like that.
It's a lot of that. It's a teaser trailer. It's a teaser trailer. It's just there to get you excited.
Did a really good job. And the one that really surprised me was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 is going to come out on the Nintendo Switch. But at first I was like, well, the console version of that game's kind of incomplete, and the PC version is too, unless you download this mod. They announced that there is going to be the restored content DLC released for free, I believe, post-launch of the game. So they're restoring all of the missing content from Knights of the Old Republic 2.
It's basically a definitive edition.
Basically, all the content is finally here, and it's the first time it's been done in an official release.
I think
Aspire does good work.
I think it's but I think it's also very smart to draw a lot of hype for that with the remake, remaster, reimagining, whatever coming out. Just get that thing out on some consoles, let more people play it, and definitely that would being the definitive way to play it. It's going to be interesting. It's not shocking that Fallen Order got a sequel, but it is exciting I want to play that damn thing because Fallen Order is very, very good.
It comes out next year, so maybe that'll line up with. Maybe we should revisit Fallen Order, maybe in an official form.
Yeah, I would replay Fallen Order. It's a very good video game.
I re-add it to my PlayStation 5 wish list. I still have it on Xbox, but I'm like, ooh, they have a PS5 version, which will be nice and shiny. Lightsaber ray tracing. Let's go.
All right. No, I mean, I'm sure that game would look very good.
Yeah.
I played it on the Xbox One originally.
So did I, and it plays well there. Yeah. Well, you play it post-patches. I played it whenever the pop-in and stuff was happening.
Yeah, I did play it post-patch. But, yeah, it's a damn good video game. Probably one of the best Star Wars games in a very, very long time. But there's going to be a lot of cool stuff to talk about coming forward. I know... is tomorrow? Tomorrow is the Warhammer one.
Tomorrow is Warhammer and Pokemon. I got a master list here. Thank you, Jeff Grubb from GameSpeed. Let's say GameSpeed.
Websites are useless now. Everybody just gets their information from Twitter.
Yeah, Jeff Grubb on Twitter. Anyway, so tomorrow is Pokemon at 9 a.m. and Warhammer at 1 p.m. So the day you're listening to this, there might be a Pokemon trailer out.
I'm sure there'll be a Pokemon trailer. I'm sure Warhammer will show off. Darktide comes out in September, which is the Warhammer 40k version of Vermintide. That got the official release in September. I'm sure we'll get some more information about that. I imagine we'll also get a date for Space Marine 2.
I hope so. Or a remaster of Space Marine 1, because I want to play that thing.
I would just even put it out. Because right now, Space Marine is not playable on anything that's not the original consoles it was released on, and you cannot buy it because it's a THQ property thing.
It's now owned by Embracer Group. We'll talk more about stuff owned by Embracer Group later on. Do you want me to go down this whole list of things coming out?
It's a lot. We'll do that we'll talk about when we do the Foul Corrupted episode about all these things.
Gotcha.
No, we talk about Embracer Group coming up, and know what's also coming up?
What's that?
Talk about Metal Gear Solid Part 3 of Metal Gear Solid 2 Part 3. Oh my lord, I fucked up my own joke. No, it's time to talk about the finale of Metal Gear Solid 2 Part 3. I am very, very excited to talk about this.
Yes.
We have now, as of the end of this episode, we'll have played through both Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3, which leads us into where we'll eventually play Metal Gear Solid 4. I am a Metal Gear fan. I'm on board now. I am attempting to acquire physical copies of all of these games. I'm only missing Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid. I don't have a physical copy of Metal Gear Solid.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's one of those things, once you get in, you're like, I gotta own all of these.
Yes.
Yep.
Also, I have Metal Gear Solid VR missions. I'm very excited. But this is going to be interesting to talk about. Nick is not with us, of course. I should have said that up front. He's had some car troubles. He was unable to make it today. But I'm sure his mind was blown by this as much as it was me.
Nick
as much my mom was.
Yeah, Nick couldn't be here through unforeseen circumstances, but he is going to try to send us his thoughts via recording. So
maybe we can add that later or something like that.
It'll be spiced into this episode.
Maybe right here, maybe not right here, maybe at the end. Who knows?
We're doing it live.
This is all winging it, everybody. No. So let's set the stage. When we last talked, we had just beat Vamp in his big boss fight.
His sediment pool thing going on.
He's
like, I'm going to drown you.
His heavy water fight. This opened the path for us to get to EE, Otacon's sister. And we're going to, of course, grab her and get her to help us shut down Arsenal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of fun things. You know, you walk in here, you meet EE, voiced by voice actress extraordinaire Jennifer Hale.
Mm-hmm.
Who, for a while there, did all the voices. There was a time in video games where it was her and who's the guy who does the guy from Uncharted?
Nolan North.
Yeah, Nolan North. And if you needed a guy, you got Nolan North. If you needed a lady, you got Jennifer Hale. But she does a good job.
Jennifer Hale also played Naomi in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah. We did a good job there, actually. I liked her in that.
Mm-hmm.
EE keeps up the family tradition of pissing herself.
Yep. Emmerich family trait. The bladder issues in the Emmerich family.
Yeah, they
I think Huey pisses himself in Metal Gear Solid 5 too, at some point.
But I would not be surprised. Let's be honest with ourselves. That most likely happened. After giving her a little bitty piggyback ride.
I want to also say it's worth noting here that EE can't walk because in a previous episode, in the last section, it's mentioned Ocelot used drugs on her instead of torture. And was disappointed that the drugs worked. He was like, "Oh yeah, I used the truth serum on the girl," and he was.
Well, the fact that he's like, "Damn, I didn't get to torture anybody. That's why I signed up for this job." She's remember how I said Otacon wasn't that bad in this game? Otacon and his entire family can go to hell.
I was waiting for this.
You pick her up. The piggyback ride stuff doesn't bother me.
There's some sweet moments between her and Raiden where she's like scared of the water because of tragedy in her childhood, and Raiden says, "Hey, listen to my heartbeat. It's gonna be okay."
Yeah, that stuff's not bad. Even the swimming back with her is not bad. It adds a lot of tension to it. You know, the swimming is not that big of a deal when you do it with just Raiden.
You get the best
but
line.
When you do
Colonel, we managed to avoid drowning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Wet blanket of the ward. But, you know, the piggyback ride stuff's fun. The swimming stuff with her is fun. There's a mechanic of holding her hand, and I hit the wrong button, so I punched her right in the face.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, all that stuff's fine. She's afraid of bugs, so we got to clear out some bugs.
How did you get her past the bugs?
I used the coolant thing.
Cool.
And sprayed it at them and ran the bugs away.
One thing I always do, you can't use the coolant. What's faster is I shoot her with a tranquilizer dart and just drag her over the bugs into the elevator.
That makes sense.
It's faster, it works.
I should, probably very satisfying too. We just got to get into this. EE has a very weird relationship with Otacon. This will come out over several conversations. But we very much from the get-go realized that, one, EE is a stepsister of Otacon, correct?
Yeah.
Which I'm sure, like the hub, is a very important distinction. They want to make sure you know that they're not real siblings, because shit's going to get real weird, and somehow Kojima thinks that's going to make it okay. There's all these weird allusions here. I'm just reading off my notes here. It just say, Playhouse, ? Otacon, ? Otacon, what you up to, ? There's just weird conversations about their growing up. Otacon is very uncomfortable talking to her. She is very uncomfortable talking to him. Everybody keeps talking about like an incident that happened, but no one's telling you what the incident is. But you start to get the vibe that the relationship between EE and Otacon was not a, let's say, healthy relationship. Yes. So it starts to lead into that pretty heavily. This whole section right here is EE and Otacon's quote-unquote moment to shine, if you want to call it that. The whole purpose of getting EE here is EE made the virus, and
not only that, she created GW.
Yeah, she made GW, so she also has the counter virus to stop GW.
In case it were to fall into the wrong hands.
Exactly.
At this point, yeah.
And we are trying to get her back to the main control center so we can get her to upload the virus and basically stop GW. It's also worth noting they are evacuating Big Shell at this point and moving all their personnel down to Metal Gear Arsenal.
It's nice of them to do that during the escort mission, so it's nowhere near as bad.
I actually kind of appreciate it because you only have to dodge 2 guards.
This is so much better than the Eva moment in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yes, where you had to dodge 5 people.
And they kept coming in through the exit, and every time you got spotted, they just funneled through. I hated that section. That's the worst part of that game.
This is significantly better.
Absolutely, yeah, agreed.
I'm hesitant to get too much into conversations about GW and the program and how it's linked to the Patriots because I feel like when we get to the big reveal on that information, it's better for us to go through all of that there.
I feel like we're going to recap stuff up until we get to the end section, and then that's where everything ties into the rest of this game. Yes. So we're not just talking about beat-for-beat plots anymore. We're talking about the entirety of Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 1, essentially, at that point.
Yeah. So. And if you're familiar with this game, which I imagine a lot of people listening are, I suggest that you just bear with us. We're not skipping over stuff. We're just going to speak about it at a more appropriate time, if that makes any sense. All of this is basically, like I said, it's a glorified escort mission. One of my favorite notes here says, "Shocking, Rose is mad about Emma." Fuck you, Rose.
I did not get that. I know of that codec call it and get it this time.
If you try to save when you're with Emma, she'll be like, "So you really like that Emma guard, don't you, Raiden?" And Raiden's dragging this woman along, trying to save the world, and Emma and Rose, once again, is an asshole. This really leads up to, I'm going to just kind of skip ahead to the part that I really, really enjoyed. There's a section in which we have to go below the big shell and escort Emma across to Snake and Otacon's position across these kind of floating walkways. And how we're going to do that is Emma's going to walk across and Raiden's going to use his sniper rifle to clear the path as she goes across. And this is a really, really cool moment because, one, you're doing the sniping shots across the way, but then she reaches halfway across, Snake gets into position, and you can switch over to have Snake take the shots instead. And if you do it that way, it becomes almost automatic because as long as the enemy is in your sniper scope at all, Snake hits them. So it's like, you do your shots, and then she gets about halfway, and I swapped over to Snake, and Snake's shooting his targets. And it's, it's automatic almost at that point.
Yeah, because that's how I'm used to it playing out, but on mine, being on hard mode, Snake didn't appear until literally the last 30 seconds of it. Where I was like, hey, you need a break? Don't worry, I'm here. Don't ask questions about where I was.
I was doing stuff. Don't worry about it. I was doing cool guy stuff. I forgot you knew I was Snake, and so I just kept thinking I had to call myself Pliskin. But no, you walk your way across, and dun dun dun. Guess who's not dead? Here comes our buddy Vamp. He jumps out of the water. He grabs Emma, and we have the classic sniping sequence in which we shoot Vamp by Emma's head. It's a cool little moment. It's in like every sniping game where you have to shoot the guy past the head of a civilian or a hostage.
Yeah, I like the flip here when you think you're triumphant and then just the realization where like she starts limping and then the blood on her stomach just gets bigger. This
is one of the best shot sequences. It's a very pretty sequence because the sun's going down. But that sequence in particular, because Vamp is kind of rotating between the two of you because Snake's on one side and Raiden's on the other. And, you're shooting across the ocean and stuff to hit him. And it's such a beautiful shot because when you do hit Vamp and he goes down, you're right, there's that pause and then she goes down. And at first I thought I shot her. I was like, oh crap, did I hit her, instead of hitting Vamp? And then Snake is, runs down there. It's a very pretty, beautiful shot.
It's really tense. Snake on the walkway, just like one-shotting those ciphers and everything.
Yeah. It's a really pretty moment.
It's juxtaposed here because it's a really unsettling, scary moment, but the imagery for it is beautiful. Yeah. And I like the way that is.
It gets across the fact that things are going south. Like Snake running down to get her and looking across the scope, and Snake's like, she's alive, she's breathing, but, dragging her off, so Raiden's got to run over there, and, it just feels very cinematic.
You see a lot of this play out over the cyberscope, too.
Yeah, because you're watching from way off in the distance, so, you're not seeing it from, being right there beside her. Raiden's all the way across on the other platform, so it feels very, cinematic. This cues up the fact that they basically bring Emma back to the command central. They've got the disc that was on her that Otacon's trying to do, but he can't really figure it out. But Emma kind of got it uploaded before she got too far gone. But long story short, Emma's gonna die. Like, she's been stabbed. She's not coming out of this. It's established pretty quickly the virus is not working.
It does the classic movie trope of it getting to like 90% and then just shutting off. So this is where we take a pause from the war ending to deal with Otacon and EE. My note says, there it is. There's the trauma. Because I forget this part exists. Every time I play it, then when I start playing this game and Otacon's here, I'm like, oh no, this bit here.
I ask you to allow me to get through this whole sequence, and then we will speak about it.
Okay.
EE had the hots for Otacon. They played house. Otacon and her were extremely close. It did not seem like an appropriate relationship. Otacon was banging his stepmom. His dad found out about this and killed himself. This led to Otacon, struck by guilt, leaving home, which means never telling EE this. So EE feels like her stepbrother, who she had inappropriate feelings towards, left her and abandoned her. Otacon, I guess, solved his problems by just leaving. And this is the grand trauma that somehow is related to swimming pools. Was Otacon banging his stepmom
while she was having a near-death experience in a swimming pool? I believe this implied that's the first time he was, I assume, assaulted by his stepmother.
That's a heavily implication, but it's the weirdest thing.
So that's why. So he blames himself for the fact that EE is scared of the water because of that situation, and it is.
He blames himself for his dad being dead because his dad killed himself. All of this is weird, and like you can it's weird because where it comes from. And we're going to pause and talk about this real quick. Games can handle extremely difficult topics. My question to you is, what does this topic and this whole drama here bring to this game about stopping a giant robot that's going to nuke the world?
And see, it would have been enough if it was just he froze and could not save her from drowning in the water, and he blames himself for like freezing and not knowing how to act. That could have been something there. Did they need to add all this other like incestuous layer on top of it?
I would be okay even that like he was in an inappropriate relation. I don't know what age he's supposed to be. I don't really want Kojima to get into that because Kojima already going weird places here. But like you can even say that he was having a inappropriate relationship with his stepmother that made him leave EE behind, and that is the reason why they are so cold and they haven't seen each other for so long. But like to like just keep adding layers to EE. Like it's weird that EE has a weird relationship with Otacon. It's weird that he had a sexual relationship with his stepmom. It's weird that caused his father to kill himself. It's weird that that's linked to a moment in which E was drowning in a swimming pool and he was upstairs banging his stepmom, and somehow that led to her having a fear of water. Like, it's just a layer upon a layer upon a layer upon a layer upon a layer.
And at a certain point... Sorry.
Yo, yeah, but... Okay, let me get through this and then... Yeah. But then it comes out of halfway through a video game about stopping giant robots. And I think that's my biggest issue, is not that this is there, is that it's brought in for like a chapter and then got rid of. Like,
at a certain point, it stops like adding to the story.
That's my point.
There's trauma, there's him feeling guilt for EE almost dying in the swimming pool and giving her this fear of water and him leaving, and their dad killing themselves. That could be enough, because at that point you also the reason why this is relevant is because it plays into Otacon's survivor's guilt of he's the one who got out of like Wolf and all of the scientists on Shadow of Moses. He's the one who got out alive. Otacon, he even says like, I'm always the survivor. So at that point, that could be enough to like play into like his trauma without you're adding too much to a tower. At some point the tower falls over. The getting raped by your stepmom is the one brick that topples the whole thing over.
Well, but even then though, it just feels like it comes out of nowhere, and then they link it into trying to like do the survivor's guilt with Otacon, which could make sense. That Otacon survived Shadow Moses as the only survivor other than Meryl and Snake. Otacon outlives his sister. But the whole like relationship and weird Otacon family stuff isn't necessary to get across the fact that he's alive and his sister's not. You didn't need to just keep
that should be
bricks.
Enough.
Yeah. It just felt to the point that it became, and none of these things are laughing matters.
No, of course not. Yeah.
It became almost parody. Where it's just like, and they're doing this, and this happened.
Then my cat died when I was 2.
Yeah, it becomes almost just, okay, Kojima, I get it.
Pick 2 of these things.
Yes.
You don't have to do all of these things. And again, there are people who have like mountains of like trauma and everything too. But I'm like, but this is ultimately a story, and these things should serve the story going forward. This is the worst part of this game, but it is like so quick, and it's right before everything goes insane to where I always forget about this. I always forget this is here.
I have just played through this for the first time. I had already forgotten about all this stuff until Nick put in the Discord today, what the fuck, when he got to it. And it dawned on me all this stuff was there again. It is very easy to ignore.
I got his message. I'm at this Otacon stuff, and I hate this game now. And then 5 minutes later, I'm back on board. So it's literally just like, what is going on? And then it like snaps and it's awesome again.
Which just makes it even weirder.
Yeah.
Like, why is it here? But no.
And because of the stuff after with Otacon, all the Otacon stuff with like him talking to the parrot and the parrot is saying how, knowing that like she's talking to the bird about him because she actually misses him. That is tragic. That is sad. The music's good there. That is an effective moment.
There is all this. Yeah, the moment that he walks out, he toughens up. So leaving all the weird Kojima just piling on trauma there that just pops up all in the middle of this game. And I'll just say this. Like I said, games can deal with any form of topic, but I just don't know if this is the story that it's really the right place to do this at. But I will say, the stuff with him and Snake's like, you have to get the hostages out while me and Raiden's got to go down to Arsenal and bring it down.
He even like calls
you
him, like,
have to do this.
Yeah, he's like, you're the only one who can do this, and then he's like, all right, I got it.
And he toughens up, and he's like, I can do it. But the moment Snake and Raiden leave his sight, he breaks down again. That's well done. There's some really nice music and cuts outside of Big Shell, like said, the sun's going down. Like,
the shot here of them all like turning like badasses and like walking in slow motion with Hal with the bird on his shoulder is awesome. I took a picture of that and put, hell yeah, this shot here.
Well, yeah,
because it's a great moment.
But then, like I said, I like the fact that even Raiden, when he's out of sight of Snake, breaks back down again. He's toughs up because Snake kind of gets his head in the game, but then he's just experienced something extremely traumatic, so he breaks back down.
They do their handshake and it's like, well,
bro, is that
handshake to the bro
Predator?
hug.
It's the Predator handshake.
Yeah.
But no, like that stuff's all great. It's just this weird moment that just feels so out of place in this game.
It's a speed bump in this game.
Yeah, it just feels out of place.
Yeah, it's like if they cut this, the game would. This is still one of my favorite games of all time, but every time it's like, why is this here? Okay, then I forget about it. Not 5 minutes after it happens. So
our objective now is Raiden. Because this kind of has become the Snake Otacon show for a little while. And Raiden's going to kind of take a back seat in this game for a little bit here. But Raiden and Snake are going down to Arsenal to kill everybody. They're going to, they know Fortune's still alive. They know Solidus is still alive. Ocelot's still alive. And he's got a whole army. We're going to have to just go down there and do this the old-fashioned way. And as we're prepping to do this, Gray Fox shows up. Oh, my God. And the mask goes down. It's Olga. She knocks us out with a sword.
And like, you're switching sides, and Snake goes, I don't recall saying I was on yours.
Snake's great. Let's just go ahead and establish Solid Snake is an amazing video game character.
Absolutely.
He gets better in this game. I like Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 1. And here he's really starting to become more of his own. He's less of a stereotype and more of a defined character.
Well, because the whole point of what Kojima wanted to do with this game is he wanted an outsider's perspective on Solid Snake, and I think that elevates him from a really great action character to one of the great video game characters.
When he says that, I don't remember saying I was on your side. This is when we're about to get a ton of information about Raiden. Really, one of the things that I didn't realize till actually we finished the game was how hard it was to talk about this game in any great detail, because it really is backloaded with information about the characters. Raiden's just a guy until we get here. Rose makes no sense. We talked about that a ton. Campbell makes no sense while he's there. He's acting like he doesn't even know Snake. Snake and Otacon are here from completely different reasons. This back half is really exponential. It just explains everything. We wake up in a scene that is pretty much a direct reference to Metal Gear Solid's torture scene with Snake and Ocelot. Ocelot's here.
Ocelot even says, this is all very nostalgic.
Ocelot, best character of Metal Gear.
Hey, I'm going to say up front, you were worried. I was like, I hope Ocelot doesn't take a back seat to Liquid. He does not take a back seat to Liquid.
And when Liquid reappears, it's even good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that. I generally,
because we got the Ocelot betrayal happy hour. Now
yes.
Liquid can appear.
But Ocelot showing up, and Solidus is here, and here we learn all about Raiden's history. Raiden is Solidus Snake's son. adoptive son.
The adopted son, yeah.
Solidus basically took Raiden. Raiden was a part of a child soldier. He was a child soldier in a kind of an unnamed war. They don't really dig into like that aspect of it.
What I took it as is, we'll delve into this, not to get into the plot of like 4. I feel like he was like doing like proxy battles for like private military.
Yeah,
just
4
like,
gets heavy into private military.
War as like a machine of something versus
and really
like
that's
an actual cause.
I know we haven't played 5 or anything like that, but post Metal Gear Solid 3, Kojima really hammers into that topics with games like Peace Walker, even Portable Ops' story, Metal Gear Solid 5, 4. He gets really deep into like war being less about nations and war being an economic force.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the stuff that Big Boss will go on to do in his lifetime during the 70s and 80s is private militaries and fighting for governments for money, not for country or flags. And war is not about patriotism. It's about keeping the right people in the right places and the right things flowing.
Making sure soldiers will always have a place, stuff like that. But Ryan doing it from a child's point of view, like he says at like later on in this section that he had his memories like of this kind of suppressed. Not full on erased because they exist in dreams and like it slowly pieces together.
It wasn't like erased from his mind. It just was almost like it was buried.
Mm-hmm.
So Raiden doesn't have like the "no, that's impossible" moment from like Star Wars. He just kind of like it, and it.
It's like that makes sense. Yeah, that tracks.
I like Raiden more at the last half of this game than I did at the first half. Because here, like I said, he doesn't have like it's impossible. He straight up is like, yeah, I remember. I know you. I know all these things that went through. And these are the reasons. The reasons I am the way I am is because of the stuff that you did to me.
And he recounts to who we believe is Rose, like all this terrible stuff he's gone through, like eating gunpowder in his food. Just to know that, like,
in the food.
Yeah, like you're always in the sense of like war.
Well, it's a chemical in there.
To keep them battle ready, yeah.
I'm sure Kojima is a very intelligent person when he does a lot of research on this stuff. I'm sure that he probably has pulled actual stuff that's happened from child soldiers and things like that to put in here. He talks about, like, when he talks to what we believe is Rose, about, like, why his room is the way it is, why he won't sleep with her at night. It shows that he's got a lot of trauma, and his trauma was buried to keep him effective, basically.
But then one day, Solidus even remarks he disappeared, and he suspects that he was taken by the Patriots.
Yeah.
Which we know.
Which is when we start to get into, like, Raiden's benefactors might not be the U.S. government.
They are, indeed, the U.S. government.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there. I thought this was going to be a big torture sequence, and it really wasn't. It was just enough tapping to bring you back to the mindset of Metal Gear Solid, but not enough to make you like want to break your controller.
Yeah.
Couple of things here also that's interesting. Raiden, Ocelot, very, very happy to be back to torturing people.
Also, he's happy that Solidus, he's like, you're the spitting image of Big Boss.
Oh,
there's some repressed feelings there.
Oh, it's not repressed. Raiden's got a fan page. He's commissioned some artwork. This is when we really get into, just basically the entire background of Raiden. They leave, and I thought, like I said, we were going to go through a bunch of torture sequences, which really would have broke the pacing of the game.
Get your Y button ready for...
Yeah, and I hated that torture sequence in 1, but I'm glad that it doesn't do that. Instead, we're rescued by Olga, who shows up back in a regular uniform, so she's not blown or covered or anything. Olga bails us out, and here is where we learn that Olga was sent by the Patriots, as she said when she was dressed as Gray Fox. Remember, she didn't lie about that.
So that's her true allegiance, not by choice, because the Patriots have her child.
Yes, they took her child from her before she even really got to see them, and they're holding them as basically ransom to keep Olga in line. There's a bunch of stuff that happens here. Raiden breaks up with Rose, I say, because he basically loses it on Rose, because he kind of like has all the trauma of his life come crashing back down on him. Like he just like breaks into everything she ever like questioned him on that he wouldn't talk about. He just goes through it all. And it's actually a pretty good vocal performance, because you can see he's not like crying and weeping, but he's just like all the horrible things that happened to him is all coming up right now, and you wouldn't just leave me alone. You kept asking questions. It's actually a really kind of good moment.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything else you want to say about this? That was a lot.
Olga explains that around the time like you were escorting Emma was when Snake opened up to Olga and was basically like, "Hey, I saved you on the tanker." And that's when Olga like really went to Snake's side.
Because Snake's not with the Patriots, so she's basically playing on both sides there. She's helping Snake, but she's also forced loyalty to the Patriots.
Yeah, exactly. And like Snake knows this, and like their priority, even at like the end of this game, is like we got to get Olga's kid.
This is when things are gonna get crazy. This shit's about to get weird. We are naked. Raiden puts his little hands over his dick, runs around.
There's a bit here, like when you're in the cell, if you hit the first person mode, it'll like do a full body shot of Raiden, but the penis is obscured by a straw from a drink.
That's funny.
Pretty hilarious.
Yeah, that's funny. No, this is we're told that basically Snake has all our equipment. And the reason why they did this to us was to get us down here. They couldn't just walk on in, so, we did this to get Raiden down here. This is when Campbell goes off the deep end and starts to disintegrate. This is one of the best effects I've ever seen done in games of this kind of mechanic. Of his, first the voice is just going weird. Then they start breaking the wall right there, the fourth wall, with like, you need to shut the game off. This is a mission, it's a failure. Stop playing the game. Basically, kid, go out and touch grass.
It terrified me as a kid. I was like, do I shut the game off? Is that how I beat the game? What do I do? Do I keep playing?
It's pretty good.
Because it needs to convey a sense that Raiden's sense of reality is completely deteriorating. It is like, one thing that they approached this with was, how can we extend that to the player and make them feel like they don't know what they're doing is real. So whenever because the GW is glitching out because of the virus, the game is also like glitching out.
Yeah.
You're getting like weird mission failed screens. Your radar becomes a lady.
It's playing the entire opening sequence of the first Metal Gear game. Like not the NES, but the was it on the NES?
That is from the MSX version.
MFX.
The NSX version starts you off in a forest.
Yeah, but it's playing that with Campbell's dialogue. The map becomes just a lady. There's like a camera following a lady around. I'm glad no one was in the room when that happened. That would have been hard to explain.
It was just a wholesome shot of a lady. There was nothing.
But I didn't know where it was going.
But when it started, you're like, what's happening here?
I was like, wait a second here.
There's a code dripping from the walls. Your footprints are being like...
They're leaving like After Effects.
It's supposed to be like, is this VR or is this... And it does... It's such a... It's incredible.
The fact that they continue to call you over and over and over and over and over, the face is going weird. It starts to become like a skeleton almost.
There's some beautiful stuff in here. You're getting fed all sorts of, when he does make senses, you're getting fed information of like where you don't even know what to parse is real or not. Like he was like, "Oh, Rose is cheating on you. I saw her left the house with another man."
Yeah, he starts to tell you like trying to break Raiden emotionally.
I need scissors. 61 is my favorite.
Yeah, but it's so disturbing. It's extremely disturbing.
Occasionally his face will glitch into a skull. It's so good.
At this point, I have figured out and I know you've played through this game many times, but at this point I figured out, okay, we are being controlled by the Patriots. Mm-hmm. Now, I did not put 2 and 2 together that this is because of the virus affecting GW, but it makes a lot of sense that the virus is kicking in, is affecting GW, which is what's been guiding you along this whole time.
So even the game itself is like falling apart.
Just over and over again, calls. We get informed that Rose is a spy for the Patriots,
and that she was forced to keep tabs on Jack.
She was keeping tabs on you. She wasn't. You didn't just stumble into each other that day. We also learned that Rose is having your baby. She's pregnant. Which is hard to believe. What is what? Because
we don't know is that real? Is that not?
Like I said, Campbell was saying stuff like she's cheating on you, or he saw her leave her apartment with some other man. But then she's saying that she's a spy. But then it's like, why is Rose even here? Like, Ryan starts to question, like, what are you doing here? Like, why did they choose you for this? It's a cool moment of him losing his grip on things. And then we run into Snake. And we don't even know if Snake's real. And there's a great moment which he even says that to Snake. Like, I don't know who to trust. And Snake's like, I'm standing right in front of you talking to you. I'm not talking to you over any links. I'm staring here, right here.
Flesh and blood.
We have to get this done. We don't have a time to, dick around here. And it's a really good speech. It's the second great Snake speech. He gives one to Otacon, and then he gives one here.
This whole entire section is Snake giving pep talks. And even one at the audience at the very end, and it's like,
it's a good moment where he's like, you can't, screw it. Yeah, maybe all of that is fake, but right here, right now is real. We have to get this done. Mm-hmm. It's a really good moment to kind of snap Raiden back into it. You get our clothes back, and we get a fucking sword, which is pretty cool.
Don't you need one too? He's like, no, I'm good. Points to his head, infinite ammo.
Which was weird.
Again, it's playing to the point. It's like, is this a game? What's happening? It's everything in this section is made for us to question what is happening. Well, and
it's also like Metal Gear has always done stuff like when over the radar they tell you press the Y button to jump over the. The game has always said that kind of stuff, so it's not too far off. But when the game's now directly like telling you to shut the disc off and go touch grass, that like. Yeah, it does add to like maybe Snake's not real. So this is entirely boils down to. I'm trying to think the best way to put this. We basically now storm Arsenal with Snake, and we have a freaking sword.
The most amazing sequence. This more than anything sells Raiden as that he's finally like earned the badass title. Of you can use the sword, or like it's fun with like the M4 too. Just you storming with Snake, just charging through, mowing down a bunch of dudes.
I used the sword because it was pretty cool to run up. You can like reflect bullets, and you got different kinds of strikes. Yeah. So like charging towards guys and smacking them with the sword and stuff. It was pretty cool. And Snake's shooting the M4 around, gunning guys down. It was a pretty cool moment. And they let it go for a good while. You get a lot of, like, Campbell breaking down. There's a sequence in which the game straight up gives you a game over screen.
Fish and nailed.
But you're up in the left-hand corner. You still play, Mm-hmm. It's really, really good.
It gets you every time. You're like, what happened? And then it's like, oh, yeah, haha.
This is
Fish and meld, I get it.
Yeah.
But that's cute.
It's good. We get stopped when we're almost at the GW like hub, basically, by Fortune. And right there at the ladder, we're about to get there. Well, Snake says, "I'll deal with Fortune. You go deal with GW." So Snake stays to fight Fortune while we storm up the ladder to go upstairs. This triggers basically when we get up there. We run into Solidus, where Solidus starts speaking to us. We get told about the S3 program.
The floor here looks like something out of straight up out of the VR missions.
Yeah, it looks like something out of
it's like a target scoreboard thing.
It doesn't look real. The ward looks fake.
And this is where I think it reaches like the maximum of absurdity. Because things are appearing out of nowhere. There's nowhere for things to enter. Raiden comes up a ladder, and then the ladder's just gone.
Yeah, he's just surrounded in blankness.
Characters appear literally out of nowhere. This is like the most it has you, even as a player, questioning, is this actually happening? I have no clue.
I honestly thought that the entire game was going to be revealed to be in VR. And that Raiden was going to wake up, and I was going to be like, that's some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad they didn't do that.
The fact that it doesn't, and it has you questioning, to where people, even to this day, are like, there's some sections of this game that's actually in VR, and the fact that you can, like, debate that, the fact that it's not completely clear is, one would say, the theme of this entire video game.
Yeah.
And just, like, really good world, I don't want to say world building too much, but you get what I mean.
Yeah. The S3 program is told to us at this time to be a program to basically make a new Snake. To put Raiden through all the experiences of Solid Snake. So when he comes out the other side, he's as capable as Snake is.
But when we're fed it this time, it's just like, oh, the VR training was to get you to be Snake.
Exactly.
And then it'll be expanded on much later, where there's 3 different versions of the S3 plant, and everybody thinks they have the right version of the
Everybody
S3
thinks they know what's real, when in reality, no one does.
Will the real S3 plan please stand
up? Please stand up. Here we fight a ton of Metal Gear Rays. I like to believe that this was all VR driven, because you think about taking down one Metal Gear in Metal Gear Solid is a big deal. Here, Raiden takes down like 20 of them. So I think it would be kind of a cool idea that all these rays are just being generated by this GW system.
You can see their eyes like light up on the silhouettes in the distance.
And they charge forward, and you shoot them in the kneecap, then shoot them in the face, shoot them in the kneecap, shoot them in the face.
Their health bars all read like gibberish, where there's Ray like RO, and when you get to 5, it spells Rose RO 5E. So
yeah, it feels. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to assume that these are not actually physical Metal Gear Rays. They're more. Maybe they are. I like to think it's a VR generated thing.
And we don't know. We'll never know, because the point of this is that we're not supposed to know what's real and what's fiction.
My take is that they're not. Mm-hmm. But this is my take. After we realize that we can't take these things down, there's just too many of them. We're gonna die. Well, Olga shows up, and then Olga dies. And
Solidus reaches with his Dr. Octopus arm, chokes her, and then shoots her in the head.
Yeah, it's a solid death. She ain't getting back up. And we'll basically realize that, if Olga dies, so does her kid.
Well, not Olga. She says if we
die. Yeah, if
Raiden
dies.
Because the Patriots' plan is that Raiden succeeds in his mission, everything else be damned.
Yeah, so basically, if Raiden dies, the kid dies too. So not only do we have to keep ourselves alive for ourselves, but we also have to do it for the kid. And also, the Patriots still, Olga dies without being able to rescue her child from the Patriots. Mm-hmm. At this point, the rays go down.
The virus actually
finally takes out the rays. This leads to basically a coming together of everybody. Snake shows up captured by Fortune. This is it's a ton of info dump here, guys. Solidus basically says, like, you can have freaking Arsenal gear. I don't care about Arsenal gear. And he gives it straight to Fortune.
It's like, it needs a bunch of rays. It needs an entire faculty to make this thing work. It's a giant coffin, is what he says.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not here for the Arsenal gear. I'm here for the names of the Patriots. Because GW censors out information that would reveal the Patriots. To do that, the program has to have the names of the Patriots to know what to censor out. Mm-hmm. Solidus does not give a damn about any of the things anybody was worried about. He don't care about Metal Gear Ray. He don't care about Metal Gear Arsenal. He doesn't care about launching nukes.
He doesn't care about the money.
He cares about the names of the Patriots. And the fact that he just straight up tells Fortune, like, you can have it. I don't care. That's not what I'm here for.
And then he says, like, good luck to Fortune. She says, thanks, but I don't need it anyway. And this was when Ocelot just laughs. And then here comes the Ocelot betrayal happy hour.
Ocelot literally walks out. And he literally just goes, allow me to, like, just school all you idiots. First of all, the true S3 plan was this. The plan is to not only have the VR training, is to put him through a moment that is like Shadow Moses. We had our own version of Foxhound, looks at Dead Cell. We had our own stealth mission to send him on. Everything was meant to do a recreation of Shadow Moses to turn Ocelot into this super soldier.
And the layers in which that happens is incredibly deep. Of how this entire game is just a recreation of the Shadow Moses disaster.
Because the Shadow Moses was put into effect because of Solidus. This is the Patriots proving that they could do it right.
And that they can have full control over it. And like when the Patriot AI even says that like Shadow Moses was completely out of our control. If we can make our own Shadow Moses have complete control over the outcome and what is told about about this version of Shadow Moses, we can control any contingency.
It's literally a dry run. It's a test. And that's just Solidus' plan fails. He's like, you don't have the names of the Patriots. You think we're that stupid? This is all our plan. Fat Man was an agent of the Patriots. That's why he was brought in. None of this was about you. This was all a game for the Patriots to see if this could actually work.
It's not even about Raiden. He's just literally a pawn. That's your role. Everyone was telling him that's your role, isn't it, to do this?
Yeah. Well, he says, like, we could run this simulation over and over and over again and have a whole army of snakes if we want. Like, he's like, this is not about you. You're not special. You were chosen because of your relationship to Solidus, but that was just kind of an F-you to Solidus.
Because you're kind of like Snake and Big Boss, sort of, so you kind of fit the mold there. There needs to be a snake to fight at the end of this thing, so...
Ocelot shoots Fortune.
Really great moment there. Like, it gets silent. The shot is beautiful, because it's like that widescreen of them sitting on opposite ends, and he just... No frills... No, like, big build-up or anything, just shot.
Well, it's like mid-realization, like, well, Fortune maybe can stop him. And Ocelot just goes...
We have nothing that we didn't give you.
Yeah, and my favorite thing is, too, she doesn't die right away, and Ocelot says the line, oh, yeah, your heart's on the right. Like, he shot on the wrong side. And he's like, oh, yeah, your heart's on the right. But it was just, the way he does it is just like... Always forget. Heart on the right for Fortune.
My
right.
all-time favorite Ocelot line is here, because he's also showing that it even reveals that, like, at the beginning of the game, where all the Marines are shooting at Ocelot, he had the technology. He even points, this is the little gizmo. Then he says my favorite Ocelot line, there's no such thing as miracles or the supernatural, only cutting-edge technology. Says the man who was the son of a ghost, is possessed by the arm of another man, and has fought alongside psychic soldiers.
And was born on the beaches of Normandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ocelot's lived a weird life.
There's no such thing as miracles.
Ocelot's the best character in video games. I don't care who you are.
The
fact also, like the fact that Ocelot is the true mastermind behind all of this. And, like, my favorite part also is the fact that, like I said, Fortune's just using the technology that he gave her, so he has the ability to shut it off. And, like, Fortune has no real power in reality. She's literally just been a pawn too. Mm-hmm. Like, all her life, this ability that's haunted her doesn't have any power, or so we believe. Fortune, Ocelot hops into Metal Gear Ray. He drops a ton of rockets and missiles at us, but Fortune somehow uses her power one last time to save us. So was it Fortune, or was it the Patriots' technology? We would never know.
Was this even real?
Was this really even real? This is a great thing, because Ocelot's just like, damn, guess we might have to shoot you. And then Liquid takes up. And it's so good. Because he literally, his first line is just like, brother! And it's just like, and my favorite thing is Snake instantly is like, motherfucker, it's Liquid. And like the fact that like
Solidus is very confused.
Yeah, Solidus doesn't get, no one else except Snake is like, I know that voice.
Ryan's like, what is going on?
And my favorite thing is like Ocelot has everything under control, and Liquid's like, now, and he takes back over. And the fact that it's literally his opening line is just like, brother, and he goes right back on his bullshit that he was saying in Metal Gear Solid.
I've been inside this arm all along, waiting for the right time to awaken. It's just like the most insane line in video games.
It just, my favorite thing is it puts all the other people's problems aside, and it goes right back to Snake being like, fucking Liquid.
But because he was like, because everyone keeps saying that the only thing that was not a factor in the simulation, even like throughout the entire game, like he was not a factor in the simulation, which is like our first clue that something is up here, that Solid Snake's not supposed to be here. And it turns out Liquid was the one who sent the information. I was like, oh yeah, by the way, they're kind of building another Metal Gear. You might want to see this anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't EE, it was Liquid. I like to think that Ocelot was sleeping at his desk, and all of a sudden his arm starts to move. And Ocelot's still asleep, and his arm types it out, sends the email, and hits delete history. It goes like, right back to being laying there.
It just like detaches, and it becomes like the hand from the Addams Family. It just goes around, cleans up around the house.
Liquid just like every time Ocelot goes to sleep, Liquid's arm just has a ventress.
Just like unsews himself and then like restitches himself before bed. Before Ocelot wakes up.
It's pretty damn great. Liquid, like I said, Liquid's the wild card. Like even the Patriots couldn't take into consideration that Liquid was still alive.
I mean, how could you?
They're like that. No way, Liquid's buried. We probably were the ones who did it, knowing us. It's so good. Today is the day. Remember Rose kept talking about what day is tomorrow is. Well, we're getting two different explanations. Today is the day that George Washington took over 200 years ago. Is the first one we're given by Solidus.
On the day of Washington's inauguration is going to be the day that Solidus frees the American people from the Patriots' control.
Yes. So because Solidus is like, I'm still going to salvage this damn thing. We're blowing up. We're nuking somebody. This is where I want to talk about some content that was changed.
Yeah.
So the game is really cutty right here because stuff was physically cut.
Yeah. After the bit where Liquid says like surfing and then jumps in the water,
and then Snake jumps after him.
It cuts to like a wide shot of Arsenal Gear charging straight for Manhattan. Cut to the Arsenal Gear has crashed into Federal Hall, and Solidus and Raiden fall onto Federal Hall.
At first I thought I clicked the button by mistake and skipped the cutscene. I didn't.
This game came out November 13th, 2001.
We have some international listeners. November 13th, 2001 is extremely close to September 11th, 2001, which was after the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center towers, which were in New York.
New York City.
This was not a time to be showing destroyed buildings and things crashing in the buildings.
Or having your entire plot centered around a terrorist attack on New York City.
Yeah, it was not the time for that to be happening.
Well, apparently the plot was, I read up on this today too because I was trying to figure out what all the cut content was. Not to get too much into it, but apparently Metal Gear Solid 2's rough draft was going to be set in the Middle East. And they're like, we can't do that. There's too much tension going on in the Middle East right now. We'll set it in New York City.
Yeah, nothing bad happens in New York City.
So they were screwed no matter what they did. So
also, the game was pretty deep into development when that happened. It's not like they could just like scrap it.
Literally about to be printed on disc. So you can't just make new content. You have to like cut existing cutscenes. You have to cut all the American flags because from a Japanese perspective looking in is like the sight of destroyed New York buildings with the American flags poking out of the rubble might go into bad taste.
There's the iconic scene of the American flag being raised over Ground Zero, and like that was everywhere. Like I'm a little bit older than you are, Michael, and like I remember that stat, like it was on bumper stickers and like posters everywhere. And it was...
That's like the moment that defined like our entire generation growing up.
Yes. And so to have that in your game where those are... It does not send the right message. It's weird because I'm jumping ahead, but there's a sequence in which there's clearly a flag. There is sound effects. And they just took the flag out.
I mean, what else could you do?
Yeah, there's nothing they could do.
There was no right answer there. Like
I feel bad for them.
You keep it in, that's bad. If you cut it out, you can't change the scene. You can't get new dialogue done.
Yeah.
The game is about to be printed. It has been, or maybe is being printed around this time, because it can't be like, oh, we're releasing digitally, we can delay the game. No, you're releasing on disc. That process gets started months in advance. So it's like we need to stop the presses now because we got to fix something fast.
And like I said, there's no good answer there. They did the best they could. It comes across choppy. I would love to see those scenes
like re-added in,
like,
because since we're into it, like I'll talk about the scene where Solidus is like falling off of Federal Hall and reaching up. That he's reaching up to like the American flag as like symbolic of like his last like grasp of freedom, and he falls onto when he falls onto the statue and Raiden like does like the sword motion. He's supposed to be draped in a flag, like how what happens to presidents when they die, they get the flag draped over him. That's like what that shot was going to be. It still works here, but I think you'll lose a little bit of like the symbolism.
Whole lot. And for me, I lost all of it because I heard the sound effect of a flag, and I thought the game had glitched out on me and not loaded the flag. And so then I watched a YouTube cutscene of it to see if it was like what it was supposed to look like, and it wasn't. And then me and you talked, and you're like, "Oh yeah, because they cut that." It's a beautiful scene, and it would have walked better with the flag. But at the same time, you can't blame them for not doing it because it was a very tough time. Like, it's all easy to sit here in 2022 and be like, "What's the big deal?" But at the time, it was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that crash happens. We get kind of our last chance to have a conversation with Solidus. Solidus' entire reasoning for this is to free the American people in the world from the control of the Patriots.
He's kind of the good guy.
Like, he's like, the Patriots are taking over everything. They run everything. I'm trying to liberate the world from the Patriots. Solidus' plan is not necessarily completely wrong.
He's all of the hallmarks of like a great villain, because everything like, let's say, Liquid Snake was doing was objectively terrible. Solidus has a great motivation for he also goes into details like, I'm a clone, I can't pass anything down, so all I can pass down is my legacy. I hope to do that by becoming the president. Then I found out that was all a lie, and then I found out the people I'm supposed to be a leader for, like a voice for, they're being suppressed too. So I need to free these people because it's my responsibility as the president of the United States to protect my people.
He feels he's a liberator, and you could even make the argument that Solidus, he's taking extreme measures, but he's kind of forced to because this is an extreme situation. The Patriots have been running the war behind the scenes for decades without anybody knowing. This is the only way in his mind he can actually take a chance at stopping them.
And it's only at the end of the game where we see him actually do like the terrible acts, like killing Olga and then being like, I'm going to cut you open and figure out where the Patriots are. Because like you're the only thing standing in my way. And the fact that like they have to kill each other for their goals and they don't want to fight but they have to is great storytelling.
We're told by Campbell / the Patriots / GW that we will kill Solidus.
He's like, everything we've done up into this moment has just been manipulating you to fight him. And they're like, now you got to fight. He's like, Ryan's like, I don't have to make that choice. He's like, yes, you do. Because if not, you're dead. And if you...
Well, you're dead. Olga's baby's dead. We'll kill the real version of Rose. Because, you know, you've been talking to an AI version. But Rose does exist.
We had to get that information somehow.
Yeah, we'll kill Rose too. Like, we'll kill everybody you know. And we're the Patriots. And we'll damn do it. You know we will. So we'll kill everybody you know. And none of this will matter. you will kill Solidus.
I'll save the Patriots speech for the very end because
we'll get into that at the end. This leads to a really good boss fight on top of the building. Sword fight. Solidus versus Raiden.
You are sword fighting the President of the United States.
On top of the Federal Hall.
On the anniversary of George Washington's inauguration.
After crushing a giant robot into Manhattan.
Metal Gear is this the best video game ever made?
It's a damn good video game.
There's a bit where, speaking of 90s action movies, this whole game is you do your pose ready to fight, and then the doves in slow motion fly from behind you John Woo style.
It even wonderful. Does the quick they pass each other thing and they both swing, but Solidus is the one who took the blade, not Raiden.
Mm-hmm.
It's a damn good moment. This is a better final boss fight than I think fighting Metal Gear at the end of 1 is. I don't know if it's as good as the fist fight with Liquid. It's better in my mind than the fight with the boss at the end of 3. I think the only one so far that is better than is the fight with Liquid is better. Because it's shirtless Snake and shirtless Liquid on top of a burning Metal Gear punching you. Good job.
It's pretty good imagery, but yeah.
But this is a damn close one. Raiden versus Solidus on top of the Metal Gear. I mean, on top of the Federal building. Boss fight ends. You take down Solidus. We talked about how he falls from the building, and he's reaching up towards the statue, and Raiden swings the sword around, and we're going to say he cuts the flag, and the flag drapes over him. I know it's cut, but that's what we're supposed to hear and take from it. This is when we get the download from the Patriots.
Well, this happens right before.
Well, we get the final. Yeah. We get everything is put together at this point, so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Once again, the S3 plan is not what Raiden says it is. The S3 plan is basically, and correct me, Michael, if I'm wrong. I'm bringing up my notes.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you go first, and then I'll fill in all the missing pieces.
Yes. The AI is basically it's an evolution of AI in general. It started inside the White House, apparently.
They say they're an infestation that has grown inside the White House.
It's got a lot of the classic evil AI stuff of the fact that it's designed to basically that your freedom as a humanity is destroying you. So we're going to just take away your ability to destroy yourself. So knowing all this information, you're just going to destroy yourself. So we're going to take away the burden of self-choice from you, and we'll just handle everything. I don't want to do the final reveal here, but I think I kind of picked up on it before it actually happened when I think about it. I'm reading my notes.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, the AI is... Michael, help.
Okay.
To me, the S3 program is the physical AI itself. It's GW. It's not Raiden. Raiden is not the program.
The S3 plan... The selection for societal sanity is not GW itself. It was the fact that they could manipulate this Shadow Moses as their own thing. That they could control everything. So they're saying this
can they control a massive incident?
Yeah.
Every aspect of it.
So it wasn't a test of if we could make a soldier like Solid Snake. It was a test of can we create Shadow Moses, control all of the variables in it, win, and control the reaction by the public after the fact. This was a test for us. It was not a test for you. You are a piece of the puzzle here. You are not special.
Yeah, it basically is what we talked about before, that they wanted to basically create a massive incident and see if it could control every single aspect of it. And the only outlier was Snake. Everything else was pretty much going according to plan. That and Liquid. They didn't plan for Liquid, and they didn't plan for Snake.
But even then, it was a success, because in the end, all it had to do was get you to kill Solidus.
And it worked. You killed Solidus, didn't you?
And even when they reveal this, and you're like, I'm not going to fight, it's yeah, you have to. Whether you like it or not, our beloved monsters, you enjoy yourself. They even say, so who will come out on top? Is it you, Solidus' creation? or is it you Solidus creation, or is it Solidus our creation?
It basically says like, yeah, all of you are pawns in the game. We're playing our own pawns against each other, so we win no matter what because we're all using our own toys, you know. And the fact that Raiden also is kind of left at this point of like, am I free from this? Like, do they still control me? Like,
they win.
They won.
The Patriots win.
It was
the end of the game.
They even say like this was a massive success. We did what we needed to do. We figured out we could control this, so we apparently can do that going forward. See you, Raiden. Sleep well tonight.
And the most chilling thing about this, the way they're describing humanity, is not wrong. Because when you look at AI in like movies, they're like, your self-destructive tendencies will bring about your own demise, and you're like, yeah, you're right. But what the AI is talking about here is you are going to, when the internet makes its full rise, you are all going to go in your own little corners and believe
Kojima is a prophet.
Yeah, this is the most chilling prediction of the future in any game I've ever seen.
I literally wrote in here, Kojima is a prophet. Because Kojima wrote this in 2001. I'm sitting here in 2022.
At the dawn of technology. Technology, the dawn of
the internet.
Yeah.
It literally says things that is completely true. You're just what is truth, Raiden? It's whatever the people you will decide is their own truth.
And even Ryan says
objective truth will go away because you'll just find your own vacuums to convince yourself that whatever truth you want will be the truth.
And even he's like, I'm going to find something worth passing on. I was like, yeah, but did you come to that conclusion? Or wait a minute, Snake told you that.
Yeah, so, it even says, like, are you going to be able to think for yourself, or you're just going to be controlled by the people around you? Are you just going to form little vacuums where you'll all be believing the exact same things and convince yourself of different truths? And the internet will, it just breaks down all of these tendencies. And it's like, what does that lead, Raiden? It leads to anarchy. It leads to self-destruction. We're removing that from you. We're saving you from yourself. Your freedom and your self-control and your self-decisions and all this stuff will just lead to your own downfall. We're taking that away from you so you can be able to survive. And it's done. Yeah, it's a cliche that the AI is saying that by saving you, we'll destroy you by saving you. The GW is like straight up saying, all this bad stuff is coming. I'm removing that so you won't have to face it. You'll be able to live a happy, healthy little life. It's more the Matrix kind of thing, right? Where you can live your little life inside the Matrix and never know that you're not free. And like I said, I wrote on here, Kojima is a prophet because he's digging into stuff that didn't start happening in our culture until well deep into the rise of social media and stuff like that. I'm like, this is kind of creepy that Kojima was able to, not creepy, but it speaks highly of Kojima willingness to do like really in-depth thought on things. I imagine he was reading some very smart people and doing some research.
There are I can't remember the names of the books, but there were some books that inspired its thought and that tied into the main theme of this game, being the main theme. I could talk about now like the themes of like the entire trilogy. The Metal Gear Solid 1 was Kojima describes as the theme of that being gene. It's all about like passing on pieces of yourself to the future. Then part 2,
which is true because it's Liquid and Solid dealing with
the fact that they're the sons of Big Boss
and the repercussions of the actions of Big Boss and how that affects them and how each one of them chooses to continue their life. Big Liquid choosing to try to basically follow in Big Boss's steps and take it to a higher extreme, and Solid attempting to break the history and not at first run away from his father, his parent lineage, and then having to embrace it and realize I have to stop it.
In Metal Gear Solid 2, the main theme is meme, that passing on your knowledge and your culture, because the whole point was that Solidus cannot pass anything on through genes because he's a clone. He's sterile. So he can't do it that way. So the only way he can do that is leave a legacy of saving his American people through and passing on what he knows to the future generation. That form of like meme, not like funny internet humor, but like the classic memetic information passed on through generations of generation. Like,
well, if you looked it up in the dictionary, it would be the A definition,
not the B definition.
Not the B definition.
Exactly. And Metal Gear Solid 3's is scene, as in like laying the groundwork for what's to come, as well as like being an homage to like the 1960s. Like,
well, I would say that like the 60s homage,
mm-hmm.
and then there's the 80s homage, like love letter to 80s action movies that is Metal Gear Solid. And I would say Metal Gear Solid 2 is almost a love letter to like the 90s.
The modern
action movie. It's the Matrix. Movie. It's the, it's those kind of action movies.
The Rock, John Woo movies.
John Woo movies. Even like I would say like things like Mission Impossible and stuff like that. So it's more of that kind of thing. But like I do understand what you're saying, that the central themes of legacy, meme, and scene setting, because Metal Gear 3 really is scene setting. It's setting up, because at that point it's the first time you actually meet Big Boss and realize like, it's the parents of Ocelot. We meet, we see where Ocelot comes from. We see Ocelot as a young man starting the path that he will follow to lead him to what happens in Metal Gear Solid 2. We see Big Boss's kind of disenfranchisement with the government and starting to form things like Outer Heaven and places like that will lead him down the path that he will lead, that will affect Solidus, Liquid, and Solid.
Yeah.
He's setting up the history, the starting point for all those guys. It's incredibly well thought out.
Absolutely. And I wanted to save like that discussion until once we finished like the trilogy to really discuss. Yeah. So Solidus dies at the feet of his hero George Washington,
while reaching up to him in one last attempt to save his country. In his mind, to save his country, and he even has sort of an argument that he is trying to save his country. Everybody's arguments in this make sense. Even the speech that we'll get from Snake at the end. Everybody's arguments make sense. The GWAI saying, like, listen, you're going to destroy yourself with this new technology. We're going to censor it and keep it out of your hands for your own good. Not a completely irrational argument.
Especially with its predictions coming true in the real world.
Yes, looking around now into 2022, it's like, man, that AI had a point. But
I'm telling you, have we actually seen pictures of the Earth round?
My favorite thing is that YouTube video of the guy going through the whole light test to prove that if the world was round, the light wouldn't match up with the spot, like over a mount, like several distance away. And when it doesn't work, his realization that he just in his own test proved that the Earth is round, and like that realization of like, no, I refuse to believe it. He does the test that he's convinced is going to prove it otherwise, finds out the Earth is round, and then continues to not believe. Almost like the AI had a point.
Yep. You'll believe your own truth no matter what truth you're presented.
Yeah, because you're just going to make your own truths.
Mm-hmm.
Solidus has a point that like he's desperately trying to free the country and the world from this power that's been controlling them. These 20 men that's been controlling the world. And then Snake's speech at the end, which is like, it's more than just passing on information. It's passing on who we are. It's passing on what we felt, what we thought, the beauty of the art that we made. Snake looks at it as, like, the AI is looking at it, like, from facts and passing on truths. Solidus is looking at saving the world so he can leave on a legacy that he can't actually genetically make. Snake's point of view is passing on who we were. What kind of people were we? What kind of emotions?
What food do we make? What type of books do we read?
Yeah, it's more than just the hard numbers of life. It's who we were as people.
Or even like the science of life. Like
yeah.
the gene of it. Like passing on like physical attributes like from Metal Gear Solid. This is about passing on who we were as people.
Yeah.
To our future.
Which I like to think is the true way of looking at it. Mm-hmm. We don't pass on necessarily.
Snake is because we're given what we should feel from the two different villains, and ultimately it's the hero of the franchise that looks at us Raiden, who is, I also want to say the conversation about Raiden. Raiden is the player.
Your dog tags have your name on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I realized that, it was really, really cool, because he looks down at the dog tags that you've been holding on to the entire game, and it has your name on it.
And then he rejects it. He's
Yes.
like, I'm going to be... That's when Raiden... That's the moment Raiden becomes his own man, his own character. He rejects who the Patriot saw him as, which was the player. Because Raiden is meant to mirror some guy who thinks Snake is really cool. Some guy who's played versions of Shadow Moses, the tanker mission, the VR missions. Some guy who thinks, if I was in this situation, I could do it just like this. The fact that he's got all his training, especially from video games, like war is a video game is what Snake calls it. He's the player. And Kojima, I believe in interviews, he was saying he wanted a moment of like the realization of like the player, when they hate Raiden, they're also hating themselves.
It's not a... There is an aspect to the fact that Raiden, he's a fanboy.
Yeah.
But then, as we sit here talking about video games on a podcast, what are we? You know, he's excited about seeing Snake. He wants to do things like how Snake does it.
Yep.
What are we doing when we play video games? You know,
we want to be a cool guy like Snake. We don't want to be this guy who's like supposed to be us.
No.
Why can't we want to be Snake? And what makes Snake cooler in this game, ironically, is the fact that we do see him from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
That he does live up to the legacy.
Snake is a hero, and that's something that I think they really tried to hit in 4, I remember from the advertising. Snake is a hero not just because of the things he accomplishes, but what he represents. You know, in Shadow Moses, during the Shadow Moses incident, you know, he's the begrudging hero who never wanted to come back, who comes back for this mission to save the ward. And what we don't know at the time is that he's the one man who the Patriots, this all-controlling system, didn't account for, was Snake. They never accounted for Snake being there. He's the inferior clone. He's not even the best of the clones. Like, we're told that he's not the superior clone.
We're told Liquid's the superior one, and that Solidus is the best of both of them. And Big Boss was the one they spun off from, but Solid's the only one standing. Solid's the last one.
He's not even the superior clone. He didn't get the best genetics. He didn't get all the best. The difference is, at the end of the day, he has something worth fighting for.
He has a cause he believes in.
He's willing to believe in it and go to whatever extremes it takes to do it. And in this game, the Tangle mission is one of my favorite sections, and I loved playing as Snake. But now that we've completed the game and I realize the message, it does elevate Snake as one of the greatest video game heroes of all time, because seeing him from an outsider's perspective, he doesn't break. We don't feel like Raiden's cooler than Snake. No, Snake is still the hero of Metal Gear Solid, even when you see him from an outsider's perspective, because he never breaks who he is. Mm-hmm. It's a great moment. It's a great message. And it sets up, I'm extremely excited about playing 4 now and stepping back into that role, because, it's obvious that 4 is the last time we'll see Snake. I mean, the game sets it up from the get-go. I mean, if you watch the trailer...
We've been told for 2 games now that Snake has Fox die, and it's going to
Snake has Fox die. I mean, we were told at the end of Metal Gear Solid, when he rides off, like, aren't you worried about what this is going to do to you? And he's like, we'll take it as it comes.
Which at first you think, like, oh, that's just a cool guy thing to say. But in this game, it's like, no, he's like, he knows, like, as a soldier, his time is limited. So he's going to pass on what he believes and what he knows to the future. There's even a great line that I appreciate more in Metal Gear Solid the more I play this whole series is Otacon's like, what are you fighting for? And he just says, maybe I'll tell you someday. And just smiles and just walks off.
Well, one of my favorite things about the history of Solid Snake, I know this game is all about playing as Raiden, but it's really about a look at Snake from someone else's perspective. Snake has the missions during the original games where he stops Big Boss, where he goes to deals with Outer Heaven. He has these big moments, and then he disappears, right? He retires. And when he's brought back in for Shadow Moses, you could say that before that, Shadow he lost his way. He's just a man trying to live his life and disappear. And the events of Shadow Moses drives him to realize that he has to have a cause. It gives him a cause. Because when we start off Metal Gear Solid 2, he's a part of this anti-Metal Gear organization. He's trying to stop the world from destroying itself with these technology. And, here during the Big Shell incident, he's trying to stop Solidus and stop the Arsenal Guild. And he's realizing that the Patriots are a threat. And that, at the end of this, Snake gets another mission. Raiden's kind of left in the lurch. Raiden doesn't know what he's going to do next.
He's like, he wants to go with Snake. And he's like, you have something you need to do first.
Yeah. Which leads us to the direct ending, which Snake's saying to Raiden, we have to go after the Patriots. We have to rescue Olga's baby. We have, there's things we have to do. And Snake straight up tells him, he's like, I'll take care of that. I'll deal with the Patriots, and I'll deal with rescuing Olga's baby. Trust me, I will take care of it. And you trust Snake, because Snake has given you no reason not to. But, he even says, you have something you have to do. And, of course, as Snake turns away, Raiden sees in the crowd of people Rose running up. And there's the first time we have a face-to-face with Rose is real Rose. And it's a moment in which these two people it's the first time these two people who have been in a relationship have actually met the real person. Raiden has not met the real Rose. She was an informant for the Patriots. She was lying to him the entire relationship. Everything about it was a lie.
Raiden was too busy, covering his own trauma.
Raiden was not exposing anything about who Raiden was. He was a blank slate because he did not want to let Rose in enough to expose all the horrible things that happened to him. So that moment at the end is two people who have who's been together for so long, but for the first time actually seeing each other for who they actually are.
Yeah.
And it's a really beautiful moment where Rose is pregnant, of course, and you kind of see that these two people are now have a chance to actually have something that's real.
It's a restart, I believe, on their 1 year, because he's like, I remember, this is the day I met you. Exactly. And that's what it was building to. It's a refresh on the day. Just like Solidus was going to restart America's future on April 30th, Ryan is restarting his relationship with his girlfriend on April 30th.
And it's the first time he's also meeting the real part. You could say it's the first time that we are 100% sure something is real.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful notion after all of this deceit and lies and all this. Rose and Raiden standing in the street together is 100% real. I stand by my statement that Rose is a pain in the ass throughout the whole game, and I hate that she's there. But also, one thing I've come to realize throughout the end of this game is a lot of the things I hated was stuff I was supposed to hate. And it is a brave fucking thing to make art that makes people hate it, but that's the reaction you're going for. Because it's not commercial, right? It's hard to sell something that is causing that reaction.
This could have fell apart. And the fact that we get to the end of this and it makes me love the bits I hated, because I was like, nothing in this game is without intent.
I wonder how many people
for better or worse.
Yeah, I know. But I wonder how many people gave up throughout this game
and then missed.
Yeah. Because you really do have to complete it to fully understand the message, right?
Yeah.
You have to finish the game to understand that the message is Raiden. You're not supposed to like Raiden because Raiden's you. You're not supposed to like Rose because that's not Rose. That's the fake version of Rose, not the real person and the AI. Like, the message is so backloaded that when you realize it, it's a great moment. It's a great moment.
But for the sake of the story and the reveals, it has to be. There was no way it couldn't be. I don't think.
I was sitting there thinking of the trilogy, which one I liked more. I have decided to start playing back through 3 again. I played through the first little section. Mm-hmm. I got up to the scene where you get attacked by Ocelot and his lackeys. I'm gonna do the achievement for shooting Ocelot to get the I have a list of things I want to do in 3 that I now know about.
The achievement names, by the way, I'm going on a tangent here, in the HD version are pretty great. If you beat up 30 guards, you get one called Rent Money.
Yeah.
If you the Ocelot Time Paradox leads to one called Problem Solved Series Over.
Which is funny. Problem solved, series over. If Big Boss would have shot Ocelot that day, we would never had any of these problems. That's great. Also, I do want to go back because I'm going to play through 3, but I now know, like, 1 to do that. I now know to shoot the end at the docks. I'm going to kill the end before I get to the boss fight.
3 is immensely playable from a gameplay perspective. 2 is immensely playable from a story perspective.
Yeah.
Is how I would
I'm
games.
excited about going back to 3.
Mm-hmm. We get our end credits as Rose and Ryan, and Ryan says, like, we pull back at this is for your ears only. We're no longer a part of Ryan's story. We've moved on. Ryan's his own man now.
Ryan's no longer us. He's his own man.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because I want to see what Ryan looks like going forward. He's Robot Man. I do know that.
If you know Metal Gear, you know Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Yeah.
But what about 4? What's he going to be in 4? We don't know.
We're gonna find out. And this is when we get the speech from Snake, and it's a good speech.
It's like, for as dark and dour as like the bad AI winning in the end, it kind of leaves in a hopeful spot.
The lines where he's like, he basically contradicts the AI's logic.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, yeah. Do we have a lot of threats coming towards us? Yeah, but it's more than just that. It's more than just the numbers and the facts. It's also, who are we? Who are we as a culture? Who are we as people? Who are we? What did we feel? What did we think? What was our hopes? What were our dreams? What was our fears? And he's like, that's the stuff we pass on too.
Building the future and keeping the past alive are one the same thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of his lines.
It's a beautiful line. It's a beautiful speech. Who knew that Solid Snake would be giving you hope in the year 2022?
And because it's a Metal Gear game, we got a post-credits Metal Gear plot twist.
Otacon has deciphered the information and has found the names of the 20 Patriots.
12 Patriots.
Is it 12?
12 members of the Wise Men's Committee. But they found out that one of Philanthropy's biggest contributors was a member of the Patriots.
Yeah. So the people funding their project was a member of the Patriots. But there's a problem, Snake.
What's that?
They're all dead. This is where I had the theory. I actually, reading through my notes, I think I put that together before. Because I said I think I have one note in there that says, has the AI replaced the Patriots? And so my theory is the Patriots had developed something. But this is my theory. I'm not 100% sure. My theory is the Patriots developed an AI that was so capable it destroyed the Patriots. And I feel like that's what you're.
They Skynet themselves.
I feel like that's what you're supposed to believe. That the AI has replaced the Patriots. The Patriots is not a group of people. It is
not
the
give
AI.
An answer, but to play into that your theory some. There is the bit where the AI says we've been growing ourselves in the White House since our inception. GW. So.
Yeah. I could see the Patriots developing the AI in the White House and the AI coming to the realization that, well, one of our biggest problems is the Patriots. So, do-do-do. This was great.
We can't control the information if we have a group of 12 people controlling the information.
Man, only 2 people can keep a secret if one of them's dead. Or in this case, if the one that's live is a robot.
Hi, this is Nick. I'm talking about Metal Gear Solid 2. After a pretty long day and a few too many, but here we go. I don't really know what to do because I'm talking to myself here, but I am going to do last impressions / highlights of the game in this last part. And I think the big thing here is capital F on the fuck escort missions. That's the worst thing that you could do in a game. Not gonna disparage anybody. I know this is an old game, but escort missions are the worst. And they're the worst part of this game. I failed that twice. Another thing that I think is pretty weird. I was gonna say it last week, but now it's confirmed. Otacon pretty weird with his sister. Definitely weird with his stepmom. So, what are you going to do? The Ray fights, pretty cool. Nothing like battling 3 mechs at the same time. And then a little disappointed about, the what's-his-face, Ocelot conversation at the end of the game. But you get, the cool Bond villain revealing the entire plan from the start to finish with Ocelot. Having apparently coordinated every single thing that happened in the game, or at least being 90% in on the plans with the Patriots. It's often said, I feel like by us or other video game outlets, that Hideo Kojima just wants to make movies, and that's definitely straight out of an Ocean's 11 or a Bond type thing, where he just spills the whole plan and then goes on to do his evil dastardly thing. And then when it comes to Snake at the end of the game, I feel like there's no better way that you could have put this, with the last words being, "What the hell?" whenever they talked about how the Patriots have been dead for 100 years. Pretty cool stuff. I look forward to playing 4, and then I'm probably going to pick up Rising and the 5th game, which is a prequel, I guess, on the next Steam sale, because those usually go for about $3 a piece. The only thing I hate about not being there today, unfortunately, is that I don't get to ask Michael 100 questions about how all this stuff ties together. So I guess that just means I will have to listen to this episode as well. But yeah, thanks for listening to my little excerpt thing. Bye. Have a great night.
Oh, we had a ball with this. We're definitely going to walk Metal Gear Solid 4 in soon, but we can't play Metal Gear Solid every game.
That's right.
So what are we going to play next?
We are playing Tomb Raider Underworld.
People are going to go, Eric, Michael, why are you picking Tomb Raider Underworld of all things? Because Tomb Raider Underworld is the last Tomb Raider before the newest of the reboots.
Mm-hmm.
It is the third in the first of the reboot trilogies.
Yeah.
So Tomb Raider was rebooted. This is the third one of that. Then it was rebooted again.
I will get into this really quick. A quick history breakdown of Tomb Raider Underworld. Tomb Raider Underworld is an action-adventure game by Crystal Dynamics. And Crystal Dynamics is a bizarre studio with some wild highs and some lows as a studio. In 1992, former Sega employees formed a small San Francisco studio where they, with the intent of self-publishing their games to take on the big publishers. Crystal Dynamics, shortly after formation, became the first licensed developer for a brand new in-development game console, the 3DO.
Boy, that went well.
The 3DO was a disaster, selling 2 million units in 3 years, coming out in a crowded market dominated by Sega and Nintendo, fighting for supremacy and retailing for $700 retail in 1992, 93,
think about
94.
that. Think about that. That's more than consoles came out
Now,
now.
adjusted for inflation, that's like what, $1,200 or something ridiculous for.
It's a mortgage payment.
While the 3DO was not selling well, Crystal Dynamics games on the system, such as Crash and Burn and The Horde, received good reviews. In 1994, they began developing games for the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn. Can't win them all. But that's what happens when you become like a multi-platform studio. So over this time, the studio had its share of successes like Gex and Pandemonium. Crystal Dynamics was acquired by Eidos in 1998. Around this time, Tomb Raider was one of the hottest new franchises for the PlayStation, developed by Core Design. It was a yearly series, and reviews for the series were on a decline since the first game. It was like, not as good. But if you keep going down that route, it's like, things are not as good.
When you hit Angel of Darkness,
in
everything falls apart.
2003, Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness was released to very mediocre reviews. I said Troy... Who's this? Thought the gameplay in here 2 months to the... Oh my goodness, my notes are starting to make sense. Basically, it was a rush job because they needed to get it done. They wanted to get it done around the time the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider sequel movie was coming out.
If I remember correctly, I have played a lot of Tomb Raiders. If I remember correctly, that's the one that is mostly in like urban environments.
Yes.
And like it's less about exploring exotic locales.
It took
and more about like shooting people in warehouses.
This was the first time it took a long development cycle. The game ended on a cliffhanger, so they released like an anthology game of Laura might be dead, but we're going to tell stories of like other characters talking about small adventures Laura had while people are waiting on Laura's alive, and she's in this garbage. Crystal Dynamics was given the keys to the franchise. They brought in Toby Gard, the credited creator for Lara Croft, as a major part of pre-production. What formed over a 3-year development was a soft reboot for Tomb Raider called Tomb Raider Legend.
I remember in the copy of EGM where this was shown off for the first time, there was a chart, and in it was a shot of Lara Croft in each game, and they slowly showed that they were only making small changes. Yes, the hair is a little bit different. They were very concerned about you understanding that we're not changing everything.
Mm-hmm.
But, fun fact, because this was the early 2000s and they still could do this kind of stuff, there was also a bust size comparison. Where, like, as you can see, we have lowered the bust slightly. But we have not lowered it too much. And the fact that this exists in the year, whatever year right before Legend came out, is fascinating to me because we're not do that in the year 2022.
The game was called Return to Form, updating the gameplay while keeping what worked from the early days. It was also the fastest selling game in the franchise. Legend was followed up with a remake of the original, with reviews landing on similar scores. There's not a lot of info about the development of the next game, Tomb Raider Underworld. Tomb Raider Underworld was released in 2008 to mixed but mostly positive review scores, ranging from the low 90s to about the 50s range.
I have beaten this game already, I found out.
Do you remember anything about
Not
it?
at all.
Cool.
Because we talked about wanting to do this,
Mm-hmm.
and I purchased the copy on the Xbox Live Marketplace, and I looked at the achievements and realized I have completed this game, and I don't remember a single thing.
Did you rent it? Did you own it? Do you remember?
I had GameFly at that point, so I must have GameFly.
It's a 10-hour game. It was probably a weekend and being like, cool, next thing.
I played a lot of things with GameFly.
Eidos, the publisher, reached out to gaming publications asking that if their review for Tomb Raider Underworld was less than 8 out of 10, to please hold off on posting it until next Monday. Publications did not listen.
If I remember correctly, also, that would have been something that had to probably get brought up by a Jeff Garsman. Because there was a while there when anytime publishers tried that
this
bullshit.
was post. As you may remember, the previous year, Eidos finding themselves in more review shenanigans with Kane and Lynch. I do not have time to get into Kane and Lynch.
Where they got Jeff Garsman fired from GameSpot. I remember that. That was a day on the internet, wasn't it? Were you on message boards?
I found out about it after because I wasn't on message boards until the time Screw Attack was doing retrospectives on what happened to Jeff Gersman.
I was on message boards that day. I remember being on the GameSpot message boards being like, this is bullshit.
Game journalism is a lie.
I'm probably saying that with misspellings everywhere.
A PS2 version was released to terrible scores due to bugs. Tomb Raider Underworld, the version we're playing, is available on PC, Steam, Xbox 360 because it's backwards compatible with all future Xboxes, PS3, and Wii. Stay away from the PS2 port. It is
I'm amazed that it still had a PS2 port.
In 2008. Well, because Legend and Anniversary did really good on like the PS2 and the Wii.
Well, we went to a retro gaming shop and we found copies of Legend for PS2. So like I was like, well, clearly Legend was probably the one, but I would not think that Underworld would have been released on the PS2. That's amazing to me.
Tomb Raider Underworld was the final Tomb Raider game to be published by Eidos, being acquired by Square Enix in 2009. So they bought Eidos and all of the properties Square Enix did. Tomb Raider was rebooted in 2013 and has once again become a successful franchise, no matter what Square Enix says.
Fuck Square Enix,
because
it's great
like,
games.
It did not meet sales potential. I was like, cool, then why are you making sequels if it didn't meet sales potential?
Also, all three of those games in that remake series, or the reboot series, is great. All three of them are great. I played through them during the pandemic. Because I played the first one not long after it came out, but then I played the second and third one during the pandemic. They're great video games. Mm-hmm. Great video games to this day.
In 2022, Square Enix sold Eidos, Crystal Dynamics, and a huge number of Western IP, including Tomb Raider, to Embracer Group. And that's where we're at. And that's one of the reasons I was thinking about Tomb Raider a lot. seeing that sale going, we haven't played a Tomb Raider yet. And it became a question of, like, which one. And I think we landed on this one because...
it's the end of an era.
It's the end of an era, and, like, looking on it from the perspective of looking at this on its own, could they have done more with this? Did it need to be rebooted because of the time, or was it just the gameplay was kind of getting stale?
I would make the argument, because Lara Croft is like a cultural icon for a while there, right? When the PlayStation 1 games are out and stuff, like, she's everywhere. But she's a stereotype character, right? She's an action hero. And, you know, when they do the big reboot, she becomes a survival hero, right? Like, she's still heroic in the new games, but she's surviving these tough situations and falling down avalanches and, you know, getting her legs broke on rocks and rivers and stuff like that. And I was sitting there when we talked about doing Underworld, I was wondering, is there a time and place for a Tomb Raider that's like this Tomb Raider? You know, snarky, adventure having action hero Tomb Raider. And like I was sitting there, I was wondering if that still exists today. Could we still do that? And I was like, we could, but I don't know if I want to sacrifice the Lara Croft that I have now.
But I would also argue that already exists. Uncharted.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like Uncharted took and ran with the Tomb Raider legacy. And if you play the new rebooted franchise, that third game has a lot of Uncharted in it. Mm-hmm. There's an entire sequence, I'm going to spoil some of this, but it's early in the game. There's a sequence in which a entire city is flooded, and it's just an Uncharted sequence. It's big action sequence, jumping off of buildings over fire, hopping in the water, getting slammed into stuff, and catching it at the last minute. It's Uncharted. That game starts to walk its way back around to Uncharted. I feel like Uncharted is the continuation of this version of Tomb Raider, and the new version of Tomb Raider has become its own thing, but it's starting to loop back around into being Uncharted.
So is it time to reboot it again?
It's the dragon eating its own tail situation. I don't, like I said, I don't know if I'm willing to lose the Tomb Raider I have now to go back to this Tomb Raider. But if a new Tomb Raider was coming out and they're like, hey, it's going to be a lot more bombastic action hero Tomb Raider, I think I might still be okay with that.
And we'll also see. Maybe we'll fall. Where will we feel at the end of this thing? Should we be like, they should make more of these? Or being like, yeah, they had on a good spot. We had a good run.
Yeah.
So our stopping point will be Ziabala, the second chapter in southern Mexico.
Okay.
It'll be on the screen. Xibalba. Ziabala.
Okay, so tell me that one more time. Xibalba.
Alba. The second chapter
in Mexico.
Yes.
Because I don't have achievements popping because I beat this apparently. I am fascinated to play this and see how much I remember it. Now, this was also during a time in which, like I said, I Gamefly. I was also a younger man. Was I employed at this time? What year was this?
2008.
Yeah, I was employed. I probably should have been working more. I was probably doing this and goofing off and skipping work. But, no. So I don't remember any of this. I played a lot of video games at this time.
Also, I got breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Nick has sent me an audio recording of his thoughts on Metal Gear Solid 2.
We will walk that in somewhere into this here show.
Yes.
So, let's take it home. stateofthesave@gmail.com is the email you send your emails to. State of the Save on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Places you can follow us. We have exciting, massive changes are coming. I know I've been saying that for a little while, but this is going to be a big thing. You're going to see it. It's going to be visual, sound, all sorts of stuff, all the sensations. But it's coming soon, and we're going to do a kind of a hard relaunch of the show. It's going to be awesome. So stand by for that. What you can do to help us. Reviews. ratings on your favorite podcasting app. Sending reviews and ratings gets us in the algorithm that helps us get in front of more people. The more people we get in front of, the more cool stuff we get to do.
Help us be in favor with the Patriots.
Help us be in favor with the Patriots. We just talked a lot of shit about the AI, and the AI is going to try to bury the show. So send it to all your friends and say, listen to this show so the Patriots can control the war. As always, stay safe out there.